Lesnar outside the cage. Here comes Reigns with a Superman punch.
What's up, WWE fans? You're watching Wrestling Edge Files, where every slam and surprise matters. Subscribe now and let's roll in. Monday Night Raw opened with an unmistakable air of tension, the kind that makes an arena feel like it's holding its breath, waiting for something to crack. For months, the mystery surrounding the Survivor Series attacker has simmered in the background, but tonight it finally erupted into a storm that shook the show to its core. The uneasy atmosphere settled over the crowd as cryptic warnings aimed at the bloodline flashed across the screens, hinting that the balance of power in WWE was shifting in ways no one could quite predict. This wasn't hype. This was the unmistakable sense that the wrestling world was about to experience a seismic shift, and by the time the night was over, it was clear that nothing, especially not Roman Reigns' rule, would be the same again. LA Knight takes a stand. Stepping into this powder keg of growing chaos was LA Knight, a man who refused to back down even as danger grew heavier around him. With the microphone in his hand and purpose in his stride, he called out the faceless threat that had haunted WWE since Survivor Series. His words were strong, fueled by conviction, speaking of honor, respect, legacy, and the importance of standing for what is real in a world ruled more and more by force and ambition. Knight positioned himself as the lone defender of tradition in an environment that seemed increasingly shaped by dominance and control. But instead of an answer to his challenge, what he triggered was the spark that set off a chain of events carefully designed to overwhelm him, shake the WWE Universe, and send a message far beyond what anyone expected. A disturbing warning appears. As Knight waited for an answer, the arena lights flickered with a harsh digital distortion, scrambling the Titantron into a chaotic mess of static and glitching symbols. A warped, robotic voice echoed across the arena, sending a chill down every spine in attendance as it repeated a haunting phrase: "Legacy deleted." It was a chilling proclamation, one that set the tone for everything that followed. This wasn't just a threat, it was a promise, one that the mysterious mastermind behind these attacks intended to enforce through pure strategic dominance. Before the crowd or LA Knight could process the warning, the arena erupted with the thunderous arrival of Bronson Reed and Bron Breakker, stepping out from the shadows with Logan Paul at their side, wearing a smug, knowing smirk that suggested he was part of something bigger than anyone realized. The new force emerges. What unfolded next was not a random ambush, but a calculated demonstration of power. Reed, Breakker, and Paul were not acting out of impulse. Every move they made resembled a plan rehearsed and perfected. They circled the ring like a coordinated unit, their presence forming an unavoidable wall around LA Knight. Breakker's raw intensity burned like a man fighting for a legacy of his own. Reed loomed like an immovable force, a powerhouse impossible to shift. And Paul added a sharp, strategic edge, the opportunist who inserted himself exactly where his influence could twist the situation in his favor. Together, they weren't just a trio. They were the embodiment of a new ideology, one that rejected the values Knight stood for and sought to dismantle everything the bloodline built. Logan Paul delivers the message. As LA Knight tried to hold his ground, Logan Paul picked up the microphone and echoed the mechanical voice that had shaken the arena moments earlier. His words were sharp, taunting Knight's passion and ideals with the cold confidence of a man who believed he had already won. "You talk about what's real," he said. "This is real. This is power. This is the future." His declaration wasn't just directed at Knight, it was aimed straight at Roman Reigns as well, signaling that this rising force wasn't targeting a single superstar, but the entire ideology that had defined WWE for years. To them, Knight represented the past, Reigns represented the throne they intended to challenge, and the message was unmistakable. The era of unquestioned dominance was under siege. The attack unfolds. Knight fought back with everything he had, throwing punches with heart and refusing to fall quietly. But the numbers and precision against him were overwhelming. Reed absorbed his strikes without hesitation, Breakker countered with explosive aggression, and Paul targeted moments of vulnerability with ruthless efficiency. Their attack wasn't chaotic, it was synchronized, almost mechanical in its timing and execution. Every move seemed designed to dismantle Knight piece by piece, proving that this new alliance was more than a dangerous trio. They were the first sign of the vision the masked mastermind had been cultivating all year. By the time Knight collapsed under the combined pressure, the entire WWE Universe understood the gravity of the threat. This was not a one-off incident, but the beginning of a full-scale uprising. The lights go out. Just when the assault reached its most intense point, the arena plunged into total darkness. The crowd gasped, suspended in silence, unsure whether the attacker had returned or something worse was about to unfold. Then, a single spotlight illuminated the entrance stage, and Roman Reigns returned. His presence alone shifted the energy in the arena, but even the tribal chief couldn't mask the tension in the air. He walked onto a battlefield shaped by a threat unlike any he'd faced before. Not one driven by intimidation or bloodline pride, but by an ideology that rejected everything he represented. Reigns didn't raise a microphone or make a declaration. He didn't need to. His stare alone carried the weight of a brewing war. A new war begins. What happens next is a question echoing across the wrestling world. Roman Reigns has conquered challenges driven by ego, ambition, pride, or power, but this is something entirely different. The mysterious figure behind these attacks has constructed an army, an ideology, and a vision and designed to undermine the very foundations of the WWE hierarchy. They are a force that cannot be bribed, intimidated, or reasoned with. They don't care about championships or glory. They care about erasing legacies, rewriting power, and dismantling the old order brick by brick. And now they've made their boldest move yet by setting their sights directly on the tribal chief. The battle lines have been drawn. The story that has unfolded for months is now transitioning into open war. And every moment from here on will shape the future of WWE.